No, that you referred to the CBSE case. CBSE is probably one of India's oldest education institutions.
right?
It started even before India became independent in a different form. But in 1952, it was set up, and then it became what it is today, 1962. So imagine, so it's a more than 60 years of expertise, experience of dealing with school education. Got 29,000 schools under it,
Right.
around 400 plus outside India. So it's a sort of it says a lot about India's academic infrastructure. So when that becomes a talking point for the wrong reasons, the issues that you raised about trust, efficiency, and the manner in which the whole thing was revealed or brought out is also something makes you wonder that what is going right and what is going wrong.
And it's also a kind of a reflection of how Indians in the present day and age are unwilling to accept things as they are. So, students are more than willing to question these educational institutions. Investors are willing to question regulators. Citizens are willing to question their fellow citizens for their civic behavior, and also pose difficult questions for the government, as so as to say. So it all boils down,
Absolutely.
to a different kind of an environment today.
Yes, absolutely.
And CBSE is a good place to start this conversation.
Yeah.
So, some numbers before we begin this conversation to give some context to what is happening. Uh, Close to 1.768 million students appeared for class 12th board exams under the CBSE this year. 1.768 million. Out of that, a little less than 25%, a little over 4 lakh or zero point 0.4 million students sought scanned copies of their answer sheets from the CBSE. This came in close to around 1.1 million answer sheets sought by these 4 lakh students. So that is the scale of this problem that we just found out. These students were not happy with the marks that they got in their exams, and this shows a complete evaporation of trust in the entire process of examinations.
Well, there are many things that need to be discussed. This brief introduction that you gave. One is the advent of technology. Now, good old days, students, I'm a CBSE student. If I was unhappy with my answer sheet, then I could have also gone in for one reevaluation, or but I would not have access to the answer sheet. I would only be told that no, this is your marks, these are your marks, and this have been changed or not changed. Now, technology has made progress. Technology and openness, I would say, has made progress. So today, a student is using technology, is having access to his own answer sheet. Uh, Now, the problem has arisen the way technology has been applied here.
Absolutely.
So, while the initiative was good, but its execution has left all of us left to be lot to be desired.
I read in one of those reports that this technology was tried as a pilot project for class ninth internal assessment during the COVID pandemic. They found a lot of glitches, and this was abandoned. And this was brought back, and the company which actually executed this was finalized only 66 days, a little over 2 months before the exams actually
So what
started.
what was the big hurry?
Exactly. So what was
And
the big
and
hurry?
why would you be using mobile phones to scan answer sheets?
And you cannot have a situation where millions are appearing for these exams,
Yeah.
and the entire apparatus which is involved in the conduct of these exams, which includes schools and teachers and non-teaching staff across, which was probably not on board this.
You must also look at what has really happened with regard to the CBSE in a larger context. There are there are only, 10% of Indians who cross this level of education in this country.
Yes.
Now, if you and how many people go on to do graduation? It is less than 5% or so. Now the question is why people go in for higher secondary examination, the secondary examination, or graduation is because the more you qualified, your chances of your getting a job is it gets better.
Yes.
Now, so therefore the stress level for a student to see his or her mark sheets and do better than what you thought you have done is intense. It's the intense pressure. The job market is not very encouraging. If you have to get into professional courses or vocational courses, if you do better than what the board has told you that you have done, so I am not at all surprised by this figure that you gave out, who wanted to see their evaluation answer sheets. It only tells you that how stressed the younger Indians are today for doing better, doing getting to get better marks so that they can get into a better course, or they may actually get a better job. So therefore it is the stress level which is reflected in this large number of people wanting to see their evaluation answer sheets. Now when technology fails to deliver and answer that question, the dissatisfaction level grows manifold. And this is exactly what has happened.
But AKB, this is something probably not appreciated enough by a lot of policymakers, probably, is that education in India is not just about education. It becomes a political question, it becomes a societal thing. Because in a poor country like ours, we may have a large economy, but still we are a relatively poor country. Education is a doorway, or these examinations are doorways to a better life, better than what your parents lived.
Absolutely.
So people are living on this moment. They're preparing for this exam because they want to get into that particular college in Delhi University, like we see
Yes.
every year. And those kids who probably scored higher but who were beaten by technology this year may not find their names included in that SRCC
Yes.
cutoff list this year, or Stephens or whatever.
Absolutely.
And as a result, the reactions are much more emotional and way bigger than what probably the government anticipated or the CBSE anticipated.
I think the lesson here for policymakers is very, very clear. Number one is, if a system is not broken, don't try to fix it.
Exactly.
That's number one. Number two, if you are using a new technology, which undoubtedly it gave the students greater access, and accountability of the system improved dramatically. Now, unless you have tested that technology out 100%, if you're not sure 100%, don't roll it out. So there are a lot of policymakers' lessons here, management lessons, which are clear before the government. Now, the government has taken some, actions in terms of removing the CBSE chairperson or the secretary to in the Department of Education. But these are all, defensive post facto action. Important thing is that should you have launched this new scheme without making sure that this is absolutely foolproof.
Once, and you talked about CBSE's decades-old history. Um, Now that such a thing has happened, trust that was probably built over decades has probably been broken. And once trust goes in the institution itself, people start questioning even other processes. And with CBSE in this case, it didn't just stop at students questioning how their answer sheets were evaluated, but also the entire IT system in which the entire data was stored. Somebody hacked into it, somebody tried to warn them about the vulnerabilities of the system, and it seemed as if nobody was willing to listen. Now,
I think you are right. I think the response mechanism needs to get better, and it is not just the response mechanism. It is also providing a kind of uh, way out for students who have been affected. Because at the heart of the problem is what you mentioned is trust. If the trust has been broken, then how do you make sure that people who have lost out are not denied their what is due to them? Now, they cannot be expected to lose 1 year. Now, what has been done, and there's a large number of students who have been affected. Now, what has been done to ensure that their pain is alleviated, or some corrective action is being taken to ensure that they don't lose out the way they feel that they will lose out. So, given the stress level, given the desire to get into a good college or get into a new institution, uh, I think the system should have responded to this crisis far more constructively.
and probably what made the reaction so furious was also the fact that it just followed so closely after the entire NEET thing which happened.
Yes.
The NEET exams was cancelled.
Yeah.
And all of aspirational India looks forward to these exams to get into the best colleges and, get ahead in life and live a better life than their parents. So it's not just about these exams are not just testing your knowledge, they are also tests of meritocracy in some ways, or tests of opportunity where some opportunity will open for you or something else will not. So probably
I mean, what happens in an exam of this nature is that there is a screening process. Why is it that our IITs produce the best students? Because the screening process. Now, what this system glitch, has done is that it has knocked at the bottom of that trust in that system, that it is producing the best students. So once that happens, then it's a serious damage. So therefore, that's why I'm saying that the response mechanism should have been far more constructive, far more prompt to address the concerns not only of the students, but the next batch, the next few more batches. Imagine, you're talking about the people who took the exams this year. Imagine what must be going through the minds of those who will be taking the exam next year.
absolutely.
So they are also equally worried and stressed. So maybe the pangs of one batch will be felt in a different way to the next few batches.
This will create more pressure for the institution now.
Absolutely.
And this was a question of trust, about trust in an institution, trust in processes and systems.